In this video, I'm going to be talking about the musical term tessitura and share why it's very important to know this word if you are a vocalist. I'll share what it means, what tessitura is in a song, and if you wait till the very end of the video, I will share my own personal thoughts on how you can work out your tessitura. In music, the word tessitura can be associated both with a singer and with a song. When considering the tessitura of a song, you want to think about what the prevailing notes are within that tune, sort of like the center of gravity of the piece. Although a song might have a big range, you want to think, well, where do the notes mainly appear? In the high part of the song, in the middle of the song, or in the bottom range of the song? When looking at tessitura of the voice, you want to consider where the singer feels most comfortable vocalizing, or where the voice sits mainly. Some believe that it's the pitch range where the singer's formant is most active. However, many agree that the tessitura is hard to measure or quantify, especially when assessing an individual voice. The etymology or root meaning of the word tessitura comes from the Italian word for texture, as well as the Latin word textura. And I thought really long and hard about why the word texture was used to describe this musical concept. Looking at the Merriam-Webster online dictionary, I considered the definitions for the word texture. The definition of the characteristics and appearance of something really resonated with me. The tessitura typically outlines where the majority of the song's notes occur, or where a singer is most likely to vocalize. Sure, music such as avant-garde music might not have a clear tessitura, but for most songs, and also when considering the singing voice, there will probably be a series of notes or general area which occurs most often or most comfortably. I also considered essential part, substance, and identifying quality, character. Your tessitura is where your voice feels most comfortable, and you will typically perform the substance of your singing work here. The tessitura assists with identifying your voice type and thus, to a point, your singing identification. By understanding your tessitura, you'll have a much better understanding of the boundaries and limitations of your voice, as well as having the access to knowing if a piece is going to suit you before you even sing it. The tessitura also is a great aid in understanding your voice type, whether it be soprano all the way down to bass. It is very important to know the differences between tessitura and range. Your musical range is assessing all the notes that are available within your singing voice, from your highest note all the way down to your lowest note. And if you're not familiar with this term, check out this video above, which is a very simple video which explains this term for you. Tessitura, though, is different. Tessitura focuses on where are you most likely to sing and where is it most comfortable. Keep in mind, as a professional, I would never advise one of my singers to sing a lot of their repertoire outside their tessitura. It can really wear down the voice or even potentially cause harm. Now, that doesn't mean you can't challenge yourself, but be aware that this can have effects on the voice. However, you might find it interesting that you might naturally gravitate towards songs and singers who perform with a similar tessitura. Determining the tessitura of a song is much easier than trying to work out the tessitura of a voice. Firstly, take note of the complete range of the song, the highest note all the way down to the lowest note, and write that down. Then, take your time to observe the song. Notice where notes mainly occur. Do mainly the songs appear in the high notes, middle notes, or low notes? Just because a song includes high notes doesn't necessarily mean it's a high song. Maybe most of the notes appear in the middle or low range of the song, and there's only 10% of high notes. There are two things that you really want to consider when doing this process. What is the duration of the notes? And how often do they occur? Once tessitura of the song is established, or at least vaguely outlined, then you can make an educated guess whether the song will be appropriate for you to sing, even before you sing it. If the tessitura of the song doesn't match up with your singing voice, then you might have a really rough time singing that song. Work smarter, not harder. If there is a song that you really want to perform but it doesn't sit in your tessitura, then you could even consider changing the key of the song to match up more with your own. However, keep in mind that this might not always be possible and also might not solve the issue that you have. Composers, when writing music, should really consider the tessitura of the vocalist they are writing for. You don't want to write music that is impossible to sing and might even damage your singers. Repertoire tessitura might vary between styles, such as classical soprano repertoire will be slightly different in tessitura expectations than a musical theatre tessitura. And also keep in mind that tessitura evaluation can be subjective. If I gave the same song to a room of composers, teachers, singers, and singing teachers, they may not agree on what the tessitura is. As Greek philosopher Thales once said, the most difficult thing in life is to know yourself, and knowing your own tessitura is no easy task. You should keep in mind that there is no best way to know your tessitura. Some claim that there's machines that can measure the frequencies in the voice, or apps which claim to do so. Some professionals say they can tell by just hearing the voice. There are many different ways to approach this. I like to begin by just asking, where do you feel most comfortable? Where do you vocalize and it doesn't feel strained? I would first set yourself up, make sure you do some stretches, make sure you're standing up, and I would warm up the voice gently. Then I would assess your range, your highest note all the way down to your lowest note. Write these pitches down. I highly suggest you do this with a professional or someone who is familiar with music. I know that's not always possible. I also suggest that you download an app for a keyboard which names the notes and their octaves. For example, the notes should say C4 and etc. I have left those links in the description below. Then look at the range that you've written down and think to yourself, where do I feel most comfortable? At the top of that range, in the middle of that range, or the lowest notes in those range? Most people will feel most comfortable in the middle of their range, but there are some exceptions. Then choose a note within that comfortable area, play that note, sing a note on a vowel, and write it down. Then slowly, semitone by semitone, move down from that note, recording each time each note. Assess each note carefully. Do I feel comfortable singing this note? Does it feel strained at all? Does it sound very different? If you were doing this alone, I highly suggest that you record your voice so you can listen back to each note. Once you get to the last note that feels really comfortable and sounds good, stop. Write that note down. That is probably the bottom of your tessitura. Then go back to the middle note that you sang and do the same exercise going up. Do not be alarmed if you don't have a big tessitura range. Your voice is unique. Your voice is like no one else's voice. Just accept and appreciate your instrument. One question I know my listeners will ask is, can your tessitura change? And I'm going to say typically no. You are born with a physical structure which is outside of your control. However, there are some exceptions. The singing voice can change with age, especially during puberty with the increase in hormones and particularly in boys. Generally, adult women's voices will drop as they will calcify, and sometimes men's adult voices will rise over their lifetime. Of course, these changes can also be affected by exterior things such as smoking or drugs or alcohol, which can severely damage or change the voice. Also, another factor might be that with extensive training, the voice tessitura might expand slightly. However, most people will stay the same. And I hope this video has been helpful and interesting for you. Please let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. I have absolutely loved my interactions with my listeners, and actually below I have left some journal entries if you would like some further reading. I know you guys are extremely intelligent, so perhaps you would like to continue learning about the tessitura. And that's it from me. Have a great day, guys, and happy singing. Are you passionate about singing? If the answer is yes, Then be sure to subscribe to the Happy Singing channel, where I try to make singer stuff super simple. Every month, new videos are launched focusing on singing and its devices. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on information which could help you become a better singer.